Going live, and we're live. Hello, my friends. My name is Evelyn Joy. This is Caleb. What's your name?
Deborah.
Deborah. Say it loud and proud.
Deborah.
How old are you, Deborah? 7. How old's Caleb? 3. This is my son, Caleb, and he is autistic, right? So, we're going to talk a little bit about disabilities today. A little girl your age, she's 6 or 7. She's going to say in the video. I think she said 6. Anyway, she speaks very well. Her name's Miss Princess Anna, and she likes talking all about what it's like to have a disability. I also want to show you this book, The ABCs of Inclusion. It was written by a mama who has a son who has a disability, and he's in this book. And this book, each letter is about a different child with a different disability, right? Okay. So I want to talk about, so Princess Anna made this video. It's called Things Not to Say to Someone with a Disability, all right? So we are going to watch it right now. Does that sound good? All right, so one second. Let me share the screen. Here we go. All right. And Caleb's probably going to be all over the place. She does have tiny arms. That's a good observation. Well, not really tiny, but her arms are maybe not exactly shaped how yours are, right? It's because of her disability. And she's going to tell us about how to talk to someone with a disability, what you should say and what you shouldn't say. Things not to say to someone with a disability, disability awareness. Let's go.
So listen, you know that I have a condition called orthogryposis, but I want to tell you about a few pet peeves I have. Things that people say that are bothersome to people with AMC or any disability. Well, the first one is poor baby.
All right, Deborah, poor baby. Why do you think it would not be very nice to call someone poor baby? Poor baby.
Because that's a mean word.
Because it maybe is mean.
And it hurts people's feelings.
Maybe it hurts people's feelings. Maybe she doesn't want to be called a baby. Do you want me to call you a poor baby? Oh, poor baby Deborah. No, that's kind of rude, right? All right. So just like everybody, people with disabilities want to be treated like a regular person, not like a poor baby, right? They don't want you to feel sorry for them. Let's go.
And I want to tell you that, one, I'm not a baby anymore. I'm 7 years old.
She's 7. She's your age.
And also, too, I'm not poor. Because I've got a whole bunch of nice things. I'm strong. I can do a lot of amazing things with my life. You know, there is a couple of instances where I'm doing my serial casting. And they're sawing off my casts. And you're like, poor baby, why are you putting her through this? I'm brave enough to handle the saw without headphones now. If I'm that brave, I can handle it. So I'm not a poor baby. You know.
All right, so her arms and her legs have an issue where they can't really bend, and they're kind of a different shape, right? Because of the disability that she has. So she has some videos where they're sawing off some casts she had to have on her arm, right? And people are saying, oh, poor baby. And she's like, don't say that to me. I'm brave. Don't call me a poor baby. I'm not poor and I'm not a baby, right? I'm brave. Just call me brave, right? Wouldn't that be a nicer thing to say?
I think something you should say instead is maybe like, wow, you're such an amazing girl. You can do this. Or
all right.
You're doing great. Power through it. You can do it. So it's really helpful. And when you just say poor baby, it hurts my feelings. I don't like it. So if you said some of those things instead, that would really help me. And I would feel way better instead of poor baby.
That was a really good advice, wasn't it, Deborah?
Yeah, and now Caleb ran out.
Yeah, Caleb went out of the room. That's okay. All right.
Okay, the next one is normal. The word normal. because I don't like when you just say, why isn't she normal? Let her be normal. But I am normal. I'm myself. I'm my very own self. And this is my normal me. I don't have to be scripted, or I don't always have to be happy. I can't be normal. Like, what's wrong with that?
All right. I think this is a very, very important thing for people to learn is that oftentimes people with disabilities, they don't want you to use the term normal. And I know usually we use the term typical, right? Typical is acceptable vocabulary. The thing is, each generation, different words become offensive and different words become acceptable. And sometimes they flip flop. So a lot of people are uneducated and don't know that saying, oh, why isn't she normal? That would hurt her feelings. But can you think, if you were in her position, how would you feel?
Sad.
Sad if someone said, oh, why isn't she normal? She is normal. She had a really good point. She's being herself. That's her normal self. That's how God made her. That's how she is. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Also, like if she needs to get a cast on her arm or have therapies or surgeries or whatever, she's not a poor baby, you know? So it's important for us to know when we make friends with someone with a disability, what kind of words to say. You could say, how did your arms get that way? It's okay to be curious, because I'm sure if you made friends with Princess Anna, she would tell you all about her disability, and she would be fine to tell you, just as long as you didn't call her a poor baby or say, why isn't she normal? Because those are things that sometimes we need to be careful with our words, that we don't hurt someone's feelings, right? Does that make sense? Let's see what she says next.
That's just a day in my life. I have to always be happy when I'm talking. Yay! Something you should say instead.
Oops, there's an ad.
Could be like, wow, this is.
Inspiration only shows up when you do. Know anyone like that?
This ad.
A day.
Okay, there we go. The ad is over. Cool.
Your life, I love you. I'm going to follow you. I love your videos. You're amazing. Instead of just saying, you can't be normal. What's wrong with being normal?
What I love about this video is she's not just saying what not to say. She's saying what you can say to someone with a disability. You can say, I would like to be your friend. One time, Deborah was playing on the playground with someone who was deaf. And Deborah didn't know any sign language, and that reminded me, I need to teach my kids some sign language. So I taught Deborah how to say play. Can you do the sign for play? Play. So she was done playing with her friend who was deaf, and I showed her how to say thank you. Thank you for playing. Now, I'm not fluent in sign language, but I know a few signs, right? Thank you for playing. And maybe just doing those signs with her friend she was playing with who's deaf might have made him feel included, made him feel happy, because she was trying her best to communicate with him. So that's awesome.
That's just a day in the life of me. Okay, third is let her be a kid. I am a kid. No one needs to let me be a kid if I am a kid. I am perfectly fine with being the way I am right now. And I will play my play kitchen, go read. I'm a totally normal kid. I'm fine. I don't have to be a kid because I already am a kid. Something you should say instead is, I love how you're doing this. Mm-hmm. Or, wow, that looks amazing. How did you do that? Instead of, why can't you let her be a kid?
All right. So some people online, sometimes they don't understand if someone's making a video about their day in the life, and maybe they have their daughter like help cook or help do something, and they think, oh, let her be a kid, right? But she is a kid. That's a good point. She said, instead of that, you could say, oh, wow, thanks for showing me what a day in your life looks like. So that's I like how she's giving examples of what not to say and what you can say. Isn't that cool? She seems really nice. If she lived nearby, we would have a play date with her, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Would you like to play in her play kitchen?
Yeah.
With her? That would be lots of fun. All right, let's see.
Okay, and then the fourth one is fix it. Because, like, with my wrists, they're stuck in this position. This is really as far as they can go straight. When mommy stretches them, they can go a little bit farther, but not as far as you could. It can't fully go to neutral. And when I have like splints on, there's one video where I had like a moose in the background. I think it was Christmas time. And I had a splint on one of my arms. I think it was my right arm, maybe. Or my left arm. Either one. But I saw a couple of you say, poor baby, and why can't you just fix her arm? Well, why can't you fix my arm? Because you can't fix it. There's no way to fix it. I mean, there might be a surgery there is a surgery that can hold it in neutral when you're like doing stuff. It's called the ECRD to FCU transfer, but it doesn't like pull it all the way fully to neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right, this is another good point. A lot of people tend to think, oh, just fix it, right? How can you fix it? How can we fix someone's issue? And I think rather than trying to make everybody the same, we should realize that God made everybody different, didn't he? He made me with blonde hair and you with brown hair. That doesn't mean I need to dye my hair brown to be like you. That just means God made us different, right? And we should accept each other how each other is. And maybe she needs to have therapies to help her arms or casts or whatever, and that's fine. But we shouldn't like not accept her how she is and say she needs to fix that, you know?
Like you have lots of freckles and I have a little bit.
Yeah, I have lots of freckles. All right, let's see.
and also my legs.
I like it.
Because when I have the casts on, you're like, why can't you fix her legs? Well, you can't fix them except for doing serial casting or a surgery. But serial casting is the only thing to prevent upcoming surgeries from happening. And it really hurts my feelings when you say that. Something you could say instead, it probably could be, wow, she's doing great. You look amazing. You're walking amazing. You're using the utensils perfectly. You're strong. You can do this. Instead of, why can't you fix her arms?
Mm-hmm. I like how she's giving examples of things you could say, like, oh, wow, you're doing a really good job doing that, you know, rather than saying, oh, you have to fix it, right?
That's all 4 of my pet peeves that I have.
That's all for her.
That was pretty great and articulate.
Thank you.
And I think that the whole fixing things kind of goes back into the being quote unquote normal, because people tend to get this idea in their head that everything has to be the same way, everything has to be done the same, that has to look the same, has to function the same, and that's just not reality.
Yeah.
You know, really, if people think that way, they should focus on how they can make themselves be more accepting of differences, different ways of doing things, different ways of things looking. Like with your video that you made, the reel, when you said, you know, look, I want to respond to this woman who said that I'm eating like a dog. And, you know, this wasn't like, it was not like we just jumped on and did it. Like we were talking about it all day and I let you make the decision if you wanted to do it or not. And, you know, that's kind of like table manners is something that people tend to get in their head, that there's only one way of having proper table manners.
But
and
there's multiple. There's like a lot of ways.
Well, and you have to be, the point is you have to acknowledge people's differences.
Yeah.
Like not everyone is able to, you know, if you're sitting at a restaurant and the person at the table next to you doesn't have any arms and they're using their feet to pick up their spoon and eat their soup, what are you going to do? You're going to stand up and be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you eating like that? That's not appropriate. Come on, nobody, that's not proper behavior. That's not being accepting. That's not being understanding. It must be nice to have the luxury of being able to use all of your digits and fingers and limbs
And TV bones.
with full range and be able to do everything prim and proper just so, but that's just not everyone's reality. So, being understanding of other people's reality.
All right. So this is something I want to talk about. This is something I struggle with a little bit with Caleb, is because Caleb, he's autistic. So he looks like he's almost 4 because he's 3.5, right? He's really tall. So he looks like he should be able to understand everything else that like 3-year-olds usually do, but his understanding of spoken language is more like a 1-year-old. So oftentimes people don't understand why Caleb is the way that he is. It's because different people with disabilities, they have different abilities, right? So we're going to look at the ABCs of inclusion. This was written by a mama whose son is right here, whose son has a disability that we're going to read about, okay? The ABCs of inclusion. Her son is Cooper. All right, A is for Arthur. Arthur was born very early and hadn't finished growing in his mommy's tummy. Because of this, his eyes didn't develop all the way. Arthur can't see anything. He is blind. Being blind doesn't stop him from doing the things he loves. Arthur is learning to navigate the world by feeling and listening to his surroundings. Isn't that neat? So he sees the world a different way because he's blind. All right, next up is B. B is for Bates. I'm just going to adjust the camera so that we can see you and the book. How about that? There we go. B is for Bates. Bates has obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and anxiety. So he interacts with his surroundings differently than some people. Bates doesn't like changes to his daily routines. He likes parts of his life to be especially organized. Sometimes he worries a lot, but Bates has an extremely powerful memory and remembers everything. Oh, bless you, Deborah. Now, Deborah tends to be sensory sensitive with things, so you can relate to some of these things. All right, C is for Cooper. This is the son of the author. The author, her name is Beth Leofaltz. All right. C is for Cooper. Cooper is deaf. This means he can't hear without help from a machine. Sometimes he likes to shut the world off. He uses his hands to communicate with sign language. We were talking about that when we did the sign for play and thank you, right? He can tell whole stories with just his fingers. Being deaf makes some things a little harder for Cooper, but he also gets to learn 2 whole languages, English and sign language. That's like how my kids are learning English and Spanish and some sign language. All right, D. D is for Deborah. You're Deborah. D is for DJ. We have a DJ, David Joshua, in our family, right? All right, D is for DJ. DJ has something called osteogenesis, osteogenesis, and I apologize if I mispronounce some of these big words. Imperfecta. This means his bones are very fragile. He had 2 metal rods put into his legs to help hold his weight so he can walk. DJ has had 16 bone fractures in his lifetime. This is a lot. He has to be very careful when running and playing, but he still likes to do both. E. E is for Emma. We have a daughter named Esther in our family. Emma.
And Kaylee Maple that is on YouTube Kids. She has a doll named Emma.
Oh, there you go. E is for Emma. Emma was born with cerebral palsy. This means that her brain can't always tell her body what to do, and sometimes her muscles don't work the ways she wants them to. It can take longer for her to learn to sit, stand, and walk. Sometimes she might need help from a walker or wheelchair. Emma's favorite thing to do is reading books, and she thinks the sound of sneezes are so funny. That reminds me of when Joshy was little, he used to laugh when someone sneezed. F is for Finn.
He's using a wheelchair
Yeah.
because when he was born, his legs didn't work.
Maybe. We're going to find out. He's in a wheelchair and he likes to play hockey, it looks like. Finn has hydrocephalus, which means that too much fluid can build up outside his brain. Some kids with this condition need a shunt to drain the fluid, but Finn doesn't. He just has to go to the doctor and get a special picture taken to make sure his brain is working okay. Finn can do all his favorite things like play hockey and dance to silly songs. I wonder if that's an x-ray that he needs or if it's like a sonogram or something else, but maybe it's sort of like, maybe it's CAT scan or something. I don't know. All right, G. G is for Gabe. Gabe has something, it looks like he likes cars. That's fun. Gabe has something called Fragile X syndrome, FXS. It's not something you can see, but it affects Gabe's development. It may take him a little longer to learn how to do some things like talk or interact, but Gabe is smart. His favorite color is lime green, and he loves to line toys up in color order. Ooh, he likes to line them up in color order. That's really pretty. Joshy and Caleb like lining things up too. H is for Hayden. Oh, look, Hayden has a special tricycle. I love it. I see that she has a support for her body. Maybe that helps her sit up better. Hayden was born with Sanfilippo syndrome. Over time, her body will stop remembering how to do things like walk, talk, and eat. She will need help to do those things. Even though Hayden doesn't talk out loud, her beautiful eyes communicate so much to her family. Aw, that's beautiful. I is for Isla. I love her skirt. Isn't that a pretty skirt?
Mm-hmm.
Isla. Let's hear about Isla. Isla was born with Down syndrome. Oh, a friend of mine has a daughter with Down syndrome. This happened because she was given an extra chromosome. A chromosome is part of your DNA, which is like the instruction manual for your body. This means she may look a little different, and she has extra pretty eyes. Isla used leg braces and a walker to learn to walk. She works extra hard at therapy, and today she can run around with other kids. Wow, good job, Isla. That was good work learning how to walk like that. Great job. J is for Jacob. He's blowing bubbles in his picture. That's pretty cool. Jacob has a sensory disorder. Hi, Miss Esther. What? Go for it. Get paper for your class. That's fine. Jacob has a sensory processing disorder. This means that sometimes his senses get overwhelmed. Senses help us see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. Jacob doesn't like noises that are too loud or lights that are too bright, but he loves anything that vibrates on his hands, especially vacuums. Ooh, that's pretty cool. K. Now, Deborah is sensory sensitive. So when you were little, if you got water on your clothes, you wanted to take your clothes off, and you didn't like water on your clothes. It really upset you. And you're still kind of a picky eater sometimes, but you're getting good at trying new foods, right? And you didn't ever like me to wash your hair because you were afraid you would get shampoo in your eyes. And you're still a little bit sensitive about that, but you're a lot braver than when you were little, right? Because you've gotten braver with time. You used to be very afraid of the sound of vacuums, but you're not scared of vacuums anymore, are you? Are you scared that the vacuum will vacuum you up? No. Caleb says bye-bye. He wants us to end the video. Hi, baby.
No, we're not ending the video just yet, silly boy.
We got to read our book. I don't know if we'll be able to read the whole book, but we're on K. K is for Keaton. Keaton has something called Mowat-Wilson syndrome. Keaton hasn't learned to talk yet, but he works with a special teacher to learn how. Someday, he will use a machine called the AAC to help express himself. Even though Keaton doesn't talk, he loves being around people. This is my best friend, Caleb. Say hi. Caleb is autistic. Say hello. Hi, best friend.
Caleb said,
Are you my sweetheart?
Caleb said, ha.
Hi, sweetheart.
Caleb said, ha.
Hi.
Like
Say
for,
cheese.
he said, ha, for like hi.
Do you want to say cheese, Deborah? Cheese. That way I can get a picture. Cheese. Caleb said cheese. All right, next page. Let's see. L is for Lily. Oh, I see Lily is in a wheelchair. And I think she has a tube. Let's find out what the tube is for. Lily has Mobius syndrome and uses a wheelchair to move around.
I
Caleb
can
wants to hear the book. It's okay. Mwah. Thank you. She can't move her face to show her emotions.
Like, okay,
Caleb
hold on.
wants to turn the page. Wow. Oh, he wants to see all the letters.
He wants to see all the letters.
Well, we might not be able to read the whole book today, but that's okay. Caleb's going to love this book when he's bigger. You love the ABCs? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Well, let's talk about Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah, when you were 19 months, you learned how to walk, which is kind of late. We were really worried about you because we weren't sure if you would learn how to walk or not. Because when you were in my tummy, you, instead of being head down, you were breech, which means you were sitting with your rear down. So I was afraid when you didn't walk for a long, long time, I was afraid maybe something was wrong with your hips. But you were just sensory sensitive. You were afraid to walk because you were really good at crawling and you ended up learning to walk, right? So we see that everybody's different. Joshy was a late talker and Caleb was a late talker and he's autistic, right? So each one of the kids has different things that make them special and different, right? Well, Caleb went out of the room, which means we can continue our book. What do you think about that?
We got it.
We were learning about Lily. All right. She can't move her face to show her emotions because her nerves don't work quite right. Nerves are all over your body, and they help tell your brain what your body should do. Nerves also help your body feel things. Even though her muscles don't let her smile, she can still tell you when she is happy, right? M is for Micaiah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Micaiah's name right, but she's a beautiful little girl, I think. Oh, yes, girl. Micaiah has albinism, like I think that's coming from albino. Let's see if I'm right. Which means her body doesn't make enough melanin. I think I'm right. So that's what we call albino, but albinism, good to know. Melanin is what gives your hair and skin different colors. Albinism also changes how a person can see. Micaiah is blind, so she can't see as much as most kids. She still sees some shadows and light. Someday she may need to use a cane to walk. Even though she can't see everything, Micaiah loves to run around and spend time outside. It is so neat to learn about different children and their abilities and their different kinds of abilities, right? I think I skipped it. No, that is just a thick page. N is for
Noah.
Noah. Good reading. Noah. Noah's kidneys don't work the right way. Sorry, Noah's kidneys didn't work the right way when he was born. You only need one kidney, so he had one removed. The other was replaced by one from his mom. Oh, his mom gave him her kidney. That is so loving. This is called a transplant. Noah has to take medication every day to make sure his kidney keeps working. He also has to be very careful not to get sick. Sometimes this means wearing a mask when he goes places. By being careful, he keeps his kidney healthy and working.
I got to wear a mask tomorrow.
You're going to wear a mask tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're a little sick? I think we'll just stay home. How about that? Until you get all better. Probably you'll be better tomorrow because you're drinking your medicine. O is for Olivia. She's a rock star. She's got a microphone. Oh, she's got a brush for a microphone. Olivia might look different in a few ways. She has something called achondroplasia, and I apologize if I mispronounce any of these. This means she won't get as tall as most kids. Her legs and arms will be shorter too. But Olivia can still run and jump and play. With some extra help, she can do the same things as most kids. Very interesting. P is for Phoenix. I'm going to move the camera a tiny bit so we can see. All right. Phoenix has diabetes. Oh, my brother has diabetes. Phoenix has diabetes, which means he has to be careful about the food he eats. Certain foods can change his blood sugar. That can be dangerous. Phoenix uses a machine to check this and takes a special medicine called insulin.
Is that good?
That's Phoenix. Phoenix is a boy.
Oh.
As long as he is careful, he can eat most foods. All right, that's like my brother. My brother has to take insulin before he eats and test his blood sugar to see if he's all right. All right. Q is for Quinn. What a cutie pie. Quinn is so cute doing some art.
I wonder why does she have those?
We're about to find out. Quinn was born with muscular dystrophy. She does a few things differently than others. She uses tubes to breathe and eat. So that answers your question. And it is okay to ask questions like, I wonder what that is, rather than saying, poor baby, or why aren't you normal? That's not nice things to say. It's nice to say, I wonder what that is. Can you tell me more about that?
Or why can't you fix it?
Yeah, it's not nice to say, why can't you fix it? You can say, oh, what's your tube for? Oh, one tube for eating and one tube for breathing. Those are very important tubes. When you were a baby, you were in an incubator when you were born, and you had a tube for breathing and tube for eating for like 2 days, and then you were fine because you were born with a little trouble breathing. All right. So you don't remember it, but you had tubes when you were a teensy tiny newborn.
Where was it? Right here or there?
Well, you had an oxygen tube on your nose, I think. No, I don't know. But you had a tube going into your nose that was a feeding tube that put milk into your tummy. All right.
Caleb, why are you
Quinn was born. He's trying to get on my lap. He's like, how can I get over to the mama lap? All right, I already read that. Quinn was born with muscular dystrophy. She does a few things differently than others. She uses tubes to breathe and to eat. This helps make sure she gets. You're moving the book. I can't see. Baby girl, I can't see. She gets all of the nutrients she needs to grow. She also uses a wheelchair to move around. Quinn may do things differently, but this doesn't slow her down. R is for Ryan. Ryan was born with a heart that didn't work quite right. She had 5 surgeries before she was 3 years old. The surgeries helped her heart learn to build muscle and pump the blood her body needs. Blood carries oxygen throughout the body and to the brain. Ryan is like most kids, but she has to be careful to not get too out of breath when running and playing. Making sure her oxygen levels are healthy is very important. I have a friend that has a daughter who has a heart condition that sounds a lot like Ryan's heart condition. Just kind of
Is Ryan a girl?
Yeah, Ryan's a girl. Ryan can be a girl or a boy
skip
name.
the page.
I'm just trying to get the pages right.
Oh,
S is for Sage, a cute little baby.
Hey, we've seen 3 babies.
Yeah, S is for Sage. Sage was born without one of her hands. Oh, right there. But she has a lucky fin.
Can I see?
Yeah, just like Nemo. Nemo has a lucky fin, right? Since she doesn't have fingers on that hand, she uses part of her arm to help her roll over and hold. High five.
Did I used to have that?
No. Each kid is different. Sage might have to learn to do things differently,
One time,
but she can still do them her own way.
one time at the Friendship Park, I saw a boy that had the one piece of his arm that was.
Yeah, the fenced-in park that we go to is an inclusive park. So that means we may see more children with disabilities there.
It was the left arm, just
So
like her.
we sometimes see kids with disabilities at the fenced-in park because those special parks, we have 2 different special parks that are made so that kids with disabilities can play. And that is, those parks, we need more of those in the world. I love inclusive parks that are accessible to every kind of kid with wheelchairs or with one arm or whatever, right? What do you want to say, baby?
I thought we weren't going to see one page that didn't have a born with
a hand. Yeah, you didn't know we would see someone with that disability that you've seen before. So now that we're reading this book, we're learning more about, there's all different kinds of things that happen with people. T is for Tyrian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Tyrian's name correctly because I've never heard that name before, but that's a really cool name, Tyrian. Tyrian has golden hair syndrome or golden hair syndrome. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Golden hair syndrome. This syndrome means some of the facial bones near his lips didn't develop all the way. He had surgery to correct this. Oh, someday his spine and organs could also be affected. But today, Tyrian likes to run and play with his dinosaurs. Both my boys like dinosaurs too, Tyrian.
Like Abuela's hair is darker and our hair is lighter.
You're right. U is for Urban. I don't know if I'm saying Urban's name right. It might be Urban or Urban. Urban has autism, like Caleb and like our friend Alyssa. Urban has autism. He likes to do things a certain way. Sometimes it's hard for him to play with other kids. Since he doesn't talk, he loves to make friends, but he doesn't always know how because autism affects his nervous system. That is part of his brain.
I like her holding a doll.
Oh,
Vanna.
Deborah likes baby dolls just like our
Vanna.
next friend.
I like Vanna.
Good job reading Vanna's name, and I think you said it right. V is for Vanna, and I believe we said it right. Vanna has charge syndrome. This can create different challenges for kids. Vanna may look a little different because the muscles in her face don't all work. She has had many procedures to help her breathe and move better. She used to eat with a feeding tube, but now she's learned how to eat with her mouth. Oh, wow. That is so cool, Vanna. And she likes baby dolls just like you do. I see trucks and a horse in her backpack. I bet she likes those too.
It's a toy.
Okay. W. We have another friend in a wheelchair. So if we go to the park and we see a friend in a wheelchair, can we smile at them and say, "Hi, my name's Deborah"? And can we play with them? We can say, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
And we know not to
And
say, "Why aren't you normal?" We can say, "Would you like to play with me?" Is that a good idea?
Or you can say, "Can you be my friend?"
Can you be my friend? That's a really nice thing to say.
That Caleb just shut the door.
That's okay. Caleb's playing with the door. Open and shut them. Open and shut them. Hi, Caleb. W is for Weston. We might get to the end of this book. I don't want to speak too soon, though. I've got a little boy that's playing with the door. This funny boy. W is for Weston. Weston was born with spina bifida. Now, I had a son with spina bifida, but he passed away in my womb. That was Gabriel. You know, Gabriel. He was in my tummy between Joshie and Caleb, and he died because of spina bifida. Okay, but this boy made it to birth, which is awesome. All right. Winston was born with spina bifida. When he was growing, his spine didn't develop the same way as most babies' spines. This means learning to walk was much harder. Winston uses a wheelchair when he wants to move fast. You know, if Gabriel had survived, we might very well have a brother with a wheelchair in our family, you know.
My shirt keeps on.
Oh, X is for Xochitl. I'm not sure how to say Xochitl's name. I might be saying it all wrong. I'm not sure.
Or
Xochitl has a very rare disease, something only 300 people in the world have. It affects her muscle tone, which means she needs extra help standing and walking. Xochitl might have trouble expressing herself sometimes, but she uses English, Spanish, and sign language to communicate. That's like us. We speak English. I speak Spanish. You're learning Spanish, and I know some sign language. We're learning some more.
And Abuela knows in Spanish. She knows English a little bit.
Yeah, her first language is Spanish, and her second language is English. Y is for Yeshwant. Yeshwant was born deaf. That affects your hearing, right? So he can't hear on his own, but he uses cochlear implants. You can see it right there in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Cochlear implants are a type of electronic device that uses magnets. When the magnets are on his head, he can hear. Isn't that cool? When they are off, he can't. Yashwant is learning more about listening and talking every day. He is even learning 2 languages, English and Tamil. I haven't even heard of the language of Tamil. There's a lot of languages out, huh? All right, we're on our last one, which is Zoe. We have a friend named Zoe who has a disability. Z is for Zoe. Zoe has epilepsy. Epilepsy causes seizures that make your body shake. We have a friend named Evangeline that one time she got sick and had a seizure, and they weren't sure if she had epilepsy. It turns out she doesn't, but she's had to take seizure medicine for a while. You might not have known that about Evangeline. But anyway, seizures are really scary because sometimes they have to go to the hospital to make sure that they're okay. Sometimes, if it's a real bad one. All right, Zoe has epilepsy. Epilepsy causes seizures that make your body shake. A seizure can look scary, but the people around Zoe know how to help her if she has a seizure. Zoe also uses a wheelchair to move around. She loves to watch people and hear funny noises. I see she's holding a toy and she's smiling.
I wonder why she has little dots in her.
That's a toy. She's got a cool toy sitting on her lap. Isn't that pretty cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's the picture of the author, and here's her family right there. That's her son. Her son Cooper has cochlear implants. The journey to this book's existence began October 2019 when our world was rocked by the information that our son Cooper was profoundly deaf.
I guess you've got to get cough drops.
Oh, you want me to buy some cough drops for you, best friend? I can do that. As a way of processing, I began writing about and sharing our journey on social media. As we gained a steady following, it became apparent to me that so many people have stories to share. And not only that, they have children to educate, like my kids, like you. You're learning about disabilities right now. Why not create a book that told those stories, but also served to teach children the differences, that differences aren't a scary thing? Do you have to be scared to play with any of these kids? Are they just normal kids? They are normal because they are themselves, right?
They sometimes don't be normal.
They have different abilities, don't they?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can't walk, but can they still be your friend?
Yeah, it doesn't mean you gotta be rude to them or anything.
You're right. And you can be friends with any kid at the park as long as, like, we don't talk to strangers, right? But we can make friends with kids at the park as long as we're being safe and staying in the playground area, right? We're not going to go to anybody's car, right? Okay. This book has been a labor of love, and my greatest hope is that it serves as a tool to create a more accepting world for our children. Deborah, I'm so proud of you that you listened so nicely to that whole book. That was so kind of you. High five, friend. So God made each one of us different, didn't he? And we can make friends with anybody. All right. We're going to say thanks for watching.
I have a little cold.
We have a little cold. That's okay. We'll get better. All right. We're going to say thanks for watching. You want to say it? 1, 2, 3. Thanks for watching. Bye.